Hello, Budleyneck here. This is a tutorial video on how to make my Mega Silverfish Grinder of Doom. That's right, today we are going to go over this beast piece by piece, and you are going to learn how to build it. You're going to learn how it works, why it's made the way it is, and yeah, by the end, you will be able to build this just the way you want. The big perk to doing it this way, rather than printing a schematic, is you can customize it this way. You're going to know how it works. If you want to make some changes to fit your needs, you'll be able to, because you will understand this thing inside and out. Now, I am not going to build this entire thing in this video. I'm going to focus on these modules. If you'll see, this is made up of a bunch of modules, and each of these modules is what I call a cell portal module. Each cell portal module contains a few parts, contains a cell portal, contains a floor that can open and close, contains some dispensers that can dispense and suck up some water, and then it contains a gate that can open and close. On top of that, it will also contain a water net. That's what I call these right here, where you put signs with water on top to slow down the fall of mobs. We're going to use those to make sure that the silverfish don't come to their end before they get to the cell portal that we want to sell them at. The rest of it is all redstone to make that work. And then over here, we have the timer. Now what the timer is for, that's a safety feature. So that way, when we activate a cell portal, we can set this timer. And if we're not back in time, then the water will get sucked back in, the floor will open back up, the gate will close, and the mobs will fall to the bottom. And this is where I have my stackers down here. And if I miss a cell portal change, like for instance at night when I'm sleeping, then as long as I have the spawners condensed up there, the mobs will fall down and my stackers will stack them. I have my T3 and T4 hoppers in the same chunk, so they will start selling all of the miscellaneous emeralds and nether stars and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not missing out. Instead of selling the blocks, then my stackers are stacking the blocks. So this is a great way to have safety features in place to prevent loss when you're using cell portals. And cell portals are the way to go, you guys. They are overpowered. You can have a ridiculous size mob farm with cell portals. There's really no limit. The only limit is the server hardware. I'm not going to go over how to build this big spawning area up here, because you can make whatever kind of spawning area you want with this. I'm also going to show you how to make a simple modification to where this can be your all-in-one mob grinder. This can literally be the only farm you make all season long, and this can take care of every mob in the game for you. That's how amazing and overpowered this thing is. And yeah, I'll go over a little bit of the spawning area, because there are a couple important things to keep in mind, especially for silverfish. But we're definitely not going to build that entire thing. All right, so here goes. First of all, before we start building, there's a couple of important things that you need to think about before you even start building. The first important thing that you want to think about is height, like what Y level you're going to start building this at. Don't go too low and don't go too high. You want the bottom level of this to be at maybe Y equals 60 or so. You want to leave some room below you. That way, if you ever decide you want to change or expand or add more modules or whatever you want to do, you want to leave room below you to grow. Because once you get a big spawning chamber up there, you're definitely not going to want to move that up. And the reason why I say you want to start at Y60 is because you also want to leave room to expand your spawning chamber up. If you run out of space in here, mobs will fall down a lot faster than they can go left and right or horizontally. So it's better to expand up than it is to expand out. So leave plenty of room to expand up and down. The next thing I need to go over is the placement of your modules. Now, if you're going to follow along with me and build it exactly like I did, you won't need to worry about this. But let me go over it just so you know. That way, if you do customize it and do something different than what I have, you'll know the important parts of this to make it work. This timer right here, this is the timer. This little module right here, this little section is the timer. The way this works is it will drop an item onto this pressure plate. Items take 5 minutes to despawn. When that despawns, then it will start this clock down here, which will then fire another item. And we load this up with enough items to last 4 hours or however long your cell portals go. This timer section needs to be in a different chunk than your drop tube. If you have T3 or T4 hoppers or any chunk-based hoppers where your drop tube is, or where your drop spout, whatever you want to call it, you need this in a different chunk because you're going to want all of your hoppers in this chunk where you're dropping the mobs. That way your hoppers can collect and sell the loot. And over here, we want to be able to drop items without the hoppers collecting it. Otherwise, this won't work. Every time this drops an item, your hoppers will collect it, and this whole system will not work at all. So just make sure this is in the next chunk. And like I said, if you're following along with me, then it will end up there anyway, because, I mean, you're going to end up with exactly what I have. So it's just good to know. If you're having an issue where this thing is shooting out items, it will be one of two problems causing that. One issue could be the one below it has an item on the plate, and when this one is spitting it out, then they're stacking on that one down there. So that could be an issue. If you see a dropper that's ticking away but nothing's coming out, it could either be stacking up on one above or one below if there's still an item out there, or you've got hoppers in the same chunk as it. So those are the two things to look out for if you have that issue. Next, well, I guess I should show how to bring up chunk borders. For those of you that don't know how to bring up chunk borders like this, first of all, you need Minecraft. I believe they introduced it in 1.10. I'm using 1.12. If you look where my mouse is up here, if you can see my cursor moving around, I'm using 1.12.2. You can see what version you're using up there. As long as you're above 1.10, I believe, then you can press F3, hold down F3 and press G, and it will toggle your chunk borders on and off. So I'm going to turn, well, actually, I'll leave these on because for the next part of the placement design, so where are we going to place this? Where are we going to start building? We need to know where the chunk borders are. I started my design in the exact middle of a chunk. That's always, well, usually the best place to start a grinder. Start in the middle of a chunk. 99% of the time, that's going to be the best spot to start. So the way I find the chunk is I bring up my chunk borders using F3 and G, and then I count over 7 spots. Okay, well, actually 8 spots. The 8th spot is going to be the start of your middle. Each chunk is 16 by 16 blocks. That means we're going to have a 2 by 2 center. Okay, so if we count over 8, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is number 8. And from number 8, we want to clear out a 2 by 2 area. And these are going to be the 4 center blocks of this chunk. And this is where we want our drop spout to be. Now, I'm going to come up a few blocks. And I'm going to start up here. That'll leave me a little bit of room to build. And here is also where you're going to want to decide if you're stacking like I am. Down here is where you would have your stacking tray, which I made a little collection tray over here, as you can see, with some water. That way, if any of the drops fall out or if any of the mobs come out here, then the water will flush it back into the soul sand, and the soul sand will take care of the silverfish. And my stackers will just stand there and stack away. You don't have to stack. You could have a regular collection system down at the bottom with hoppers, like a water stream and all that kind of stuff. That's just what I'm doing. And that's kind of the beauty of this design, is you can customize it for whatever you want. So the next thing we want to do is just outline that 2 by 2 drop spout area. So we're going to make our square here. And that is our drop spout. I'm going to make this a few blocks high. Now, 99% of the time, your modules are all going to be the same. The only one that is going to be different is your very bottom module. Let me show you right now why that's going to be different. On every other module, you're going to want these water nets for the mobs to fall through, because these water nets are going to slow down the mobs so they don't die when they hit the next floor. On the bottom floor, obviously you don't want that, because you do want the mobs to die when they hit this floor down here. So the only real difference between these up here and the very bottom one is the bottom one, you do want the signs for the water net, but don't put the water. You want those signs to catch any spilled water from above. You don't want any of the dispenser's water coming down here if there's lag or any issues like that. So those will stop the water, but they won't prevent the mobs from coming to their end down there. So if this is the bottom module, you will put the signs, but not the water net. Every other module, you'll put the water net. I'm going to go ahead and put the water net in this one, assuming that this is, because I mean, most of them you are going to be putting the water net in. But like I said, if this is your bottom one, don't put the water. Okay, so from here, we need the floor. If we take a look over here, the way this works, we have a floor. Let me find it a good view. There we go. We have these pistons that push these blocks in, and they will create the floor. And then these dispensers will activate, and they will spit out some water. The gate will open, and the water will start flushing all of the mobs into the cell portal. So the first thing we're going to make is the floor that goes in and out. So for that, we're going to need blocks here, and we're going to need pistons able to push those blocks. We need sticky pistons. Let me come over here and grab some from somewhere. Here we go. We'll grab that. So we need 2 sticky pistons there, and we need the same thing on the other side. We need 2 sticky pistons there. And then whatever kind of block you want for the floor. I use stone bricks. You can use whatever you want. And after that, we are going to need some dispensers on top of these 2 blocks. So I'm going to grab a dispenser from over here, and we will put it right up there. The next thing we want to do is just outline all of this in glass. Except here, actually, we want to leave these open. This is where our gate is going to be. If we take a look over here, we have the gate that opens and closes. That is going to be right above these on this side. So we can come up this high, but we don't want to go any higher with the glass. That is where our gate is going to be. And we can go ahead and do all of that. For the gate, we are going to need a couple of stones here, and we need somewhere to place a sticky piston. So right there, and then we can go ahead and get rid of that one. We need 2 sticky pistons over there. We need to do the same thing on this side. Put your 2 blocks that are going to create your gate. Whoops. And put your 2 sticky pistons on this side. All right, and we are getting there, you guys. We're actually pretty close already. I mean, we have all of the basics in place. And now we are just going to create another layer of glass up above all of that. Now we need to start getting some functionality here. Actually, I'm going to put a little fake part of a cell portal here so you understand why I have it spaced the way I do. On the server, you are going to want your cell portal. I think it'll be kind of like this. I think it'll end up lining up similar to this. You're going to want your cell portal right here. I'll put a little bit of the floor in. And we need the water to push the mobs all the way into the cell portal. So starting here, we are going to grab some glass, and we're going to want glass walls to trap. I always put a ceiling in too. I like to put a ceiling. Otherwise, sometimes your mobs will do weird things. They'll pop up on top of your wall, do all kinds of weird things. The ceiling seems to help a lot. And we want to bring these walls all the way inside of the cell portal. So in other words, we want the water to end right here on the edge of the cell portal. And we will go ahead and put signs up there and there to stop the water. And we are done with this area. Next, we need to get started on some of the redstone. I like to put redstone lamps next to these gates. That way I can look from a distance, like on that over there. I can look and I can see exactly which gates are open or which ones are closed, which is really handy. It's nice to know. So I like to put redstone lamps here. The next thing we're going to need is some half slabs coming out of the bottom redstone lamp. So I have some half slabs here. We're going to do 4 coming out of that. And we are going to need redstone dust. We're going to need a full block. What do I want to get rid of? I'll get rid of the signs. We're going to need a block and a redstone torch. Now, the reason I have it set up this way, we want this gate closed all of the time. And then we want it to open only when we tell it to open. So this is the easy way to have it closed all of the time. And then when we want it to open, we will power this block and it will invert this torch, which will then open it. So that's why I have this designed this way. If you're having any issues with that not opening or closing right, then your problem is probably in this area. Well, for instance, say you put your torch here instead of on here, it won't work. If you put your torch there, then what did I do here? Oh, whoops. Whoops, I forgot to put my redstone lamps there. If you put your torch here, it will close the gate. But then when we try powering this block, it is not going to power this torch. So if you're having any issues like that, it could be your torch placement. Make sure you have your torch on the side of that block. Very important. The next thing we are going to do, whoops, we didn't need that. We want to grab your block of choice and come underneath the pistons here. These sticky pistons on the back, opening and closing the floor. And we want to come back and put 6 blocks like this, 3 back on each side. And then we can actually break this one. I think I left it in mine, but yeah, but we don't need that there. You can break it if you want. And we need 2 repeaters. Let me grab a repeater over here. We need a repeater going into each one of those pistons. Next, we are going to have a couple blocks coming out this way, and we want to cover all of this with redstone. Just like that. Cover all of it with redstone dust. The next thing I want to get in place is the opening and closing mechanism for the floor on this side. So we need some redstone that is going to power these sticky pistons back here. And we're going to do that with some redstone blocks right here and here. And we need to be able to place some pistons, sticky pistons. I keep saying pistons, but all of the pistons that I'm using in this are sticky pistons. And we need some sticky pistons. We'll put a sticky piston right there and one right there. And then we can, whoops. And then we can get rid of these. These were just there so I could place them. And we need some blocks going into the bottom of these sticky pistons so we can run our redstone to it and then wrap it right around the glass like that. And I'm not sure if I did it that way. I think that's how I did it. And the same thing over here. Bring it back and wrap it right around the glass, just like that. And I think this is how I had it on the other side. Now on each of these arms or each of these ledges going to this sticky piston, we want a redstone repeater right there. And we want one on the other side. That way all of our floor pistons are opening and closing at the same time. Now we need to grab some redstone dust and bring it down to this one and all the way to that piston. And we want to cover this side with dust as well. Now let me take a look and make sure I am wiring this the same way I did before. I believe I am. On this side, I actually came this way with it. We will do it this way. It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters, but we'll do it the same just to be sure. Okay, next up, we need to get this power. Whenever this is powered, whenever these pistons are extended, we want to power this block so that this gate opens. So we need to get this power up to these, and we are going to use some half slabs to do that. To do that on this side, we want to come here, and if we put one down here and put one right there, that will work on this side. And we need to do a similar thing on this other side. What we want to do over here, we're actually going to have some other stuff. Let me go ahead and start getting this next floor in over here so you understand why I do this side different. On this side, we need to run a signal to these dispensers to dispense the water. And we're going to use these blocks to do that. And we are going to come back like this. And then on top of this redstone dust right here, we are going to put a sticky piston just like that. And we are going to have a block on top of that with a repeater coming out of it. And we want this repeater to be on 4 ticks. This is really important because, well, on the server, it doesn't matter so much. On the server, items travel out of the hopper 3 items at a time. In a vanilla or any other world, or if the server ever changes it to where they travel 1 item at a time, you need that 4-tick delay. Otherwise, you're going to get multiple signals because the hopper will send one into the dropper will spit it out, and it will depower this. It won't get a signal, and then another one will go in. It will get power again, and by doing that, it will get 3 pulses. It will go water out, water in, water out, or actually it will get 2 pulses, water out, water in. And it won't work. So the first time that it gets activated, every time you're going to have issues. So make sure you have that 4-tick delay. Right now on the server, it doesn't matter, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And then we're just going to cover the rest of this with redstone dust like that. We can go ahead and put a piece of redstone dust right there. And we need these to come out kind of like this. We need to steal a signal. Whenever this redstone block right here moves, when it hits here, it's going to power this redstone. It's going to come up, power this piston. Before the piston goes up, we are going to steal that signal right here. And we are going to get a quick pulse out of this redstone signal. And then this is going to lift up. So that way we are only going to get one pulse out of it when it comes over here. And the same thing when it goes over here. We are going to do the same thing here. As soon as these power, this redstone is going to come up here and it is going to do the exact same thing. It's going to power this. It's going to lift up. But before it lifts up, we're going to get that quick pulse. And that will be our on and off for our water. Now we need the kind of stepping stone piece right here. Just like that. And put a piece of redstone on there. And this looks pretty good. We're actually, I think we're pretty much done with this section. Like I said, it's super easy, super simple. It is not complicated at all. I know it looks way more complicated than what it is. The next thing we need is the piece to steal the redstone signal when the redstone block comes back. If you look over here, when the redstone block is back in this section, we need kind of this stair-steppy thing right here to bring it up. So to do that, we are going to put a block there. We need one coming down here, and then kind of a stair-step thing like that. We need a redstone block. I think we can get rid of these half slabs. I don't think we need those anymore. And I am going to go ahead and put this right here. We need a sticky piston, and when it is in that position, we need the piston to be extended right there. And we can break that, and we need redstone dust coming up the stair steps, just like that. And did you hear those dispensers fire just then? That's exactly what we want. We want that quick little pulse to fire those. And that section is all done. Now we need a block behind this piston. We need a repeater going into the piston. We need a block like this. So the repeater should be coming out of a block. And I shouldn't have broke that yet. We can leave that. I've just got a habit of breaking unnecessary blocks. Like this is killing me right here. Normally I would break that. You don't have to. It doesn't hurt anything if it's there. And then the comparator, like you can see here, is right on the edge of this chunk boundary, just like we want. Because over here, do I have a, no, that's a dispenser. I need a dropper. Over here is where we are going to put our dropper, which is going to end up right in the next chunk, exactly like we want. Let me go ahead and turn these chunk borders off. Now underneath this dropper, we need a block. Whoops, we need a block there, and we need a block coming out like that. On the back side of this block, we need a torch, and listen when I place this torch. It's going to make that dropper fire. That's what's going to power our whole timer system is this, and we're going to have a clock coming out of this that's going to turn this off and on. Now down at the bottom here, we need a wooden pressure plate. Let me find something good to get rid of. We'll grab a pressure plate, and we will grab some glass. So down here, we need our pressure plate, and we need some blocks down here to make our clock. We need 6 blocks there, just like that. And then we need 2 repeaters coming out of that torch. So they have to be facing this way, and put those on 4 ticks. Those will be facing into a block right here, and we can actually get rid of that block. We need a piece of dust on this side, and we need 2 repeaters this way facing into that block. Both of these also on 4 ticks. We need all of these on 4 ticks. It's very important. That way this has plenty of time to spit an item out and the item to land on this pressure plate. And when it lands on this pressure plate, it will deactivate the clock so it won't spit out any more items. It's really important that only 1 item spits out every time, or else your timer won't be very accurate. Next up, we need to bring some blocks out this way so we can turn, whoops, let's put a redstone lamp there. And we need a lever. Grab a lever, and we are going to use this to lock that clock. This will turn the clock on and off. We need a repeater then coming from there into that block. And now whenever this is on, that will stop our clock. Next, let's make our little glass bubble here for our item to go into when it gets dispensed or dropped, and we'll break that one and then finish this off like so. We need a redstone torch. I need a redstone torch. There we go. We will have a redstone torch coming out of the side of this block. We will put a block on top of that with a redstone torch coming out of the back. And this whole part right here, you could leave it right here, and this is totally fine. And then whenever you want to activate this one, you could come here and put however many items in based on the amount of time you want. Each item gives you 5 minutes. So 4 hours would be 48 items. I like to add the hopper to mine just out of convenience. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so you can see how that works if you want to add a hopper. So we need a hopper here facing into this. We need a torch coming out of the side of this. We need a block on top of this torch. And we need another redstone torch on the back side of this under this hopper. And that redstone torch right there is going to lock this hopper. So now we can load this hopper with however many items we want. I'll just go ahead and throw a stack in there. They won't move because the hopper is locked. Then as soon as we flip this switch, it will unlock the hopper and it will start that clock at the same time. And I think we are good to go, you guys. Let's put the signs in. Let me go grab a couple signs from over here. Let's grab a sign. So like I said, if this is your bottom floor, if this is the very bottom level of your grinder, then you are going to want to put signs here like this to catch any spilt water, but you are not going to want to put water above it. Now, if this is not the bottom floor, you want to put water source blocks here. So put a bucket of water in that corner, whoops, and a bucket of water in that corner. And you want these all to be source blocks. Flowing water doesn't slow them down as well as source blocks. So fill that with source blocks and this will be your water net. Unless this is your bottom level, do not put it in your bottom level. And the last thing we need to do is put some water buckets inside these dispensers. And you do want to do this last because every time you trigger this while you're building it, you'll get water in and out, and it can ruin your redstone and make a mess, and it's just best to wait till last. And here we are, you guys. It is completely done, I believe. I don't think we missed anything. Let's give it a test. We have no items in there. We have our items loaded in there. So when I flip this switch, everything should activate. And there we go. Look at that. Oh, that is a work of art. The floor closed, the water dispensed, the gate open, flushing them into our pretend cell portal. This thing is working great. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to show you an easy customization, an easy way to make this work for every mob in the game. You could have iron golems up there, you could have witches up there, creepers, whatever mob you want. Since we're using cell portals, you can drop every mob in the same cell portal and it doesn't matter. So, I mean, if you add a bunch of mobs, you're kind of committing to cell portal only. You won't be able to stack anymore because otherwise you'll have iron golems down here plugging up the works and stuff like that. But if you are committing to cell portal only, this could work for every mob in the game. Let me go ahead and stop this and we'll make that quick and easy change. I'm going to grab this off of there and let's empty this out. And now watch what happens. We're still going. The pressure plate doesn't matter. What matters is when the last item leaves this dropper. As soon as I pull that out, our water sucks back in, our floor opens back up, and our gate closes. All timed. You don't have to worry about it then. Then as soon as you're done, you come back, you load this back up, and it is ready to go again the next time. But let's change this. This will already work for most things. I mean, most things will fit through here. But iron golems, you're going to want it taller, right? Iron golems are 3 tall. So this is a really easy, quick and easy way to change this. But plan for this ahead of time. If you think you may want to do this right now. Don't try to come back later and change this because it may not be tall enough later on. So what you want to do, you want to add another layer of blocks to your gate here and just add another set of sticky pistons on top. Whoops. And this is really all it takes, you guys, then. Put a piece of dust up there and put a piece of dust right there. And there you go. Now we have it 3 high. We could have iron golems coming through here. You could have whatever you want coming through here. We are set. We are ready to go. And this thing is an amazing grinder. I'm really proud of this thing. I hope you guys enjoy it. I've been enjoying it. It is a great grinder, and it will make you a ton of money. And then I always suggest putting a roof on here. That way you know everything's contained. And yeah, there. Now that is the only customization you need to make, and now that can be your all-in-one grinder. So in a season, you can literally make this one grinder, this one farm, and it will handle every spawner you get in the entire season. Villagers, creepers, it'll handle everything. So next season, this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to build this. I'm going to build it like this to where it can handle every mob in the game. And I'll be set for the whole season. I won't have to rebuild it all. I'll probably have to expand a lot, but that's not a big deal. So yeah, that is all there is to it, you guys. Make sure you do put the water nets in every layer. Let me show you over here. Make sure you do put the water net in there. Otherwise, your silverfish are going to start dying when they fall too far. Even if they're landing in water, you need these to slow them down. So make sure you put those in. But other than that, I think that's it. It's really that simple. Oh, let me show you one more thing. There is one more thing. What you're going to want, I didn't build it in here because this thing takes forever to build. But what you're going to want is a water net here also. Your silverfish, I have these way up, way up here. And obviously, if they fall from up there, they're going to die in here. And I don't want that. So inside of here, above my water that's directing them to the center hole, right? I have a water net that goes 1 block above this entire thing. So I have a water net on the server going kind of like this, completely above. So start a block above your water block here and put your signs in, and then you're going to want to flood this with water source blocks. It has to be water source blocks. Now to get water source blocks, you just have to go along the side here and along the side here, and then they will match up and make source blocks all the way. So go all the way along this side, all the way along that side, and you can drop down one if you want, like I did here. You don't have to. I dropped down here so that way I could fit more spawners in, but you definitely don't have to. You could just stay at this height the whole time. And you also need this to be source blocks, and to make this entire area source blocks, if you drop down like that, then you are going to need a row of blocks, not like that, right here. You're going to need a row of blocks right here so that you can put source blocks all along this side and source blocks all along that side, and it will fill itself in the rest of the way, and then just come back through and break these blocks out, and you will be set. You will be good to go. I think that's all there is to it, you guys. I mean, it's pretty simple stuff. It looks complicated, but it's not. If you guys have any issues, let me know down in the comments. This is my first tutorial video on a build like this. I've done a tutorial on Schematica and stuff, but let me know how I did. If I need to change anything, if I need to do anything different, let me know down in the comments. I want to make these as good as I can for you guys so that they help out as many people as possible. If you like this video, do me a big favor and hit that like button down below. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, maybe consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. Keep playing, keep having fun. We will see you guys next time. Bye.